video going live. Everyone's got to quiet on set. All right, kicking it off now in 3, 2, 1.
For years, the energy revolution has been building through utility changes, through shifts in policy, through innovations no one saw coming. Our industry powered through all of it. We grow energy together. A new standard began to emerge in garages, on rooftops, inside homes, one installation at a time. Not because someone said it would, because installers chose it, because homeowners trusted it, because the work spoke for itself. Across neighborhoods, across cities, across the country, thousands of moments, becoming unstoppable momentum. The proof isn't coming, it's already here. Built in the field, tested every day, by the people who know energy best. And while most were waiting to see what came next, something bigger was already taking over. Today, the story steps onto a bigger stage. The people behind it, the innovation driving it, the momentum changing everything. This is more than a launch. It's the moment everyone catches up, the power you deserve. Welcome to SolarEdge Nexis Takeover Day. The takeover starts now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nexis Takeover Day. I'm Michelle. If we have not met, I'm the Director of Residential Marketing here, and I am so excited to have you here. The question I've gotten a lot is, what is Takeover Day? We like to think of it as the day that the rest of America can fully embrace SolarEdge Nexis. This is the solution to the challenges in the battery storage market that distributors, installers, and homeowners have had over the years. We're going to show you that today, why SolarEdge Nexis is more flexible, more powerful, and more durable than the other solutions on the market. We're doing that through 3 stages today here on set. So this is the expert stage, where our experts will tell you all the details about SolarEdge Nexis and the Connector Islander solution. We also have an expert panel coming up, which is really showcasing people that have experienced this firsthand in the field and getting their feedback. And then that 3rd stage is going to be a live installation. We want to show you how easy SolarEdge Nexis is to install, and we're doing that live today. Additionally, please use the chat on the live stream to ask your questions, because we have a team standing by to answer your questions throughout the event. So I want to bring up Cameron Stewart, our Principal Product Manager of Nexis, and Ryan Taji, who is the Director of Sales for Connector. But before we do that, I want to turn it over to our CEO, Shuki, with a message about SolarEdge Nexis.
Hi, and welcome to the SolarEdge Nexis Takeover Day. We've been building towards this moment for a long time, and today it all comes together. This isn't just a product launch for us. It's the beginning of a new era in home energy. Simpler to install, easier to sell, and a seamless addition to any home. And now, all of America gets to experience the path forward with SolarEdge Nexis as we grow energy together. This is the SolarEdge Nexis Takeover Day. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Michelle and Shuki. I am so excited to be here to finally show you the SolarEdge Nexis. And I've got Ryan with me here. First, I want to break down what Nexis is, the individual building blocks, and tell you a little bit more about the product, how it was developed, what the key pillars of development were, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Islander and everything that there is. First, we're going to start off with the Nexis inverter. You can see that on the top of the stack here. It is a 13 kilowatt inverter that is single SKU. So really streamlined distribution. You assign the power class at the time of installation. It's a really easy to use product. It can be used with the battery or standalone without the battery. And then as we move down the stack here, you can see the SolarEdge Nexis Link. Now the Link is our battery management system. And all that does is manage the individual blocks so they can operate independently at high efficiencies. But additionally, one of the biggest things is it's also using forced air cooling so we can install these batteries in hot environments. And then lastly, not leastly, but we have the SolarEdge Nexis battery block. Now the battery block is a 5 kilowatt hour battery block with a 3.5 kilowatt output and charge and discharge. It can stack up to 4 battery blocks per Nexis inverter, and then you can have up to 4 links per inverter. So that means you can get 16 battery blocks per Nexis inverter, which would be roughly 80 kilowatt hours. So the thing that really kind of pulls everything together is the Islander. And so Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about Connector and what Connector does and what they've been up to?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to say thanks to Cameron, Michelle, and the whole SolarEdge team. What a beautiful partnership that's come to fruition here. Our company is Connect DER, or you can say Connector. The DER standing for Distributed Energy Resources, of course. So we used the creativity of adding the DER in there, and that also is placed with our product Island DER or Islander. So we'll be talking about that and how that ties into the SolarEdge Nexis platform. A little bit about Connector. We're a US-based company out of Philadelphia. We've been in business since 2011. So 15 years in the industry. We released our first product in 2014. So we have over 15 years of feedback that's come from the field. It's coming from installers, OEMs. We work with utilities and AHJs on a regular basis. So we really consider ourselves the leader in meter socket adapters, and you'll hear us talking about meter socket adapters in general, referred to as an MSA. So if you hear me say MSA, that's what we're referring to. We've installed tens of thousands of these devices throughout the U.S. in multiple utilities.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll dig into the functionalities and what makes the Islander a little bit different. But first, I want to focus on the 3 pillars of development for Nexis, which is the flexibility, the powerfulness, how high power it can be, and then also the durability. Those are the founding principles for Nexis. So first, simplified operations. We use a single SKU. As you can see here, there's only 4 products on this table. That means there's only 4 part numbers that people can order, and there's no top battery block or bottom battery block. It's all the same, completely customizable for any situation you need to be in. And now with single SKU, that SKU, SKU, stands for stock keeping units. I should probably specify. But what
the acronyms in this industry, right?
we love them.
Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about it a little bit later
Yes.
too. All that means is we're manufacturing one product. Our distributors are stocking one product. It's a lot easier to manage. You can always assure yourself that when you show up to site, you have the right product and you just assign the power class at site. For the battery blocks with the modular approach, we have simple click technology. You can install it outside, you can install it inside, you can install it in hot climates, in cold climates. It's really designed to be anywhere. So that's where a lot of the flexibility comes from. And you can right size the system. So I have a lot of customers ask me, well, what happens when I have 6 battery blocks? Do I do like a stack of 4 and then a stack of 2? Or do I do 2 stacks of 3? What's the best solution? And really it comes down to what's your application. You could do either one. Both of them work. And so just that flexibility, that modular approach allows installers to install more products wherever they need to be. And then new for the Nexis is we're DC coupled, so we have high efficiency, but we're also AC coupled. So now we're working with existing systems that are out in the market today, and we're attaching storage to those systems. When we thought about ease of install, we really went with the simple click technology. Now that is just stacking one battery block on top of the next, the link on top of the top battery block, and then the inverter. And that's all done through a quick connector that's doing all of your DC wiring, all of your communication wiring, and then all of your mechanical attachments. And I think Evan will show us how that simple click technology works. And then also we have a short video talking about it. But really, ease of install was the founding or guiding principle of how I wanted to develop the stack. It was like I wanted to make sure it was easy to install, flexible. So as far as the Islander goes, what are some of the key benefits that you can think of with the Islander?
Yeah, so with Connector and Islander, why have we created this partnership with SolarEdge, right? As mentioned earlier, we consider ourselves the definitive leader in meter socket adapter technology. Really, it comes down to the quality and build. Again, we've had 15 years of feedback from the industry, which has allowed us to iterate with the product, making sure that it fits all of the meter types and that it's a quality of build. It's got to withhold a lot of heat and deal with the heat rise issues. So we'll go through a few of the features and benefits, classic feature benefits of the product. And we'll start with the ease of install. We've been talking about the battery blocks and this revolutionary product with SolarEdge Nexis. The Islander is a 15-minute install, so it's literally plug and play. The meter is pulled off, the meter socket adapter placed in that space, and then the meter simply replaced. Takes 15 minutes.
Right. So I said the Islander was required for backup systems, and that's because it's the MID, or microgrid interconnection device, and it's what electrically isolates our home from the grid when the grid goes down, right? So this is required for backup systems, and this is where we're doing the isolation. So how much money do you think an installer can save by not having to relocate all those circuits?
Yeah, savings vary depending on the location where you're doing installations. We're here in California, and we're finding that savings can be anywhere between $5,000 and $6,000 avoided by not having to relocate those circuits.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that stands out to me about the meter socket adapter and the Islander in general is the fact with SolarEdge, it's a digital module on top. So there's no secondary box that you have to go through. It's just a Cat5 cable from the Islander directly to the inverter.
Yeah, this is the connection module. With the design and build of any of our meter socket adapters, you have a base, you know, and part of what our engineers have been able to do over the years is to take what is typically the size of a grapefruit in a circular design, which is challenging, right? And pack all of that technology into this device. This is the base here, and then on top you have this connection module. With the SolarEdge Nexis platform and Islander, you've got a digital connection, and you can see that coming out of the connection module here. It's a Cat5 or better connection, so it's an RJ45 jack that plugs in and can be customized on site, pending the lengths according to your installation manual with Nexis.
Absolutely. So one last comment on the Islander, because I've got you here, and I think it's a great product in general, that the connection module can be left or right. I call it ambidextrous, but
yeah.
Long story short, you can take this top piece and then flip it around to meet whatever service entrance style you have.
Yeah.
And it's all passively cooled, right?
Yes, so this has got passive cooling. You'll notice on the device it's got these black gills. It's a ceramic build. These are heat sinks unique to our device. So there are no fans cooling this. This is passive cooling. I mean, it's 200 amp capability in a meter socket, so you want to be able to deal with the heat rise, and it does such with those heat sinks on the side.
That's right. So no moving parts means it's more robust. Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan, for walking us through that. So I want to talk a little bit about 200 amps, and when we're doing full home backup, what is really required? And very commonly I get questions about what's the maximum LRA, or lock rotor amps, of the Nexis? And my answer is always, well, when you have 3 battery blocks, it's 185 amps. So inevitably I get someone, well, can that power my 2,000 square foot home? And the answer always comes down to, well, what are your loads in your 2,000 square foot home? Like, are you trying to run a well pump, a sump pump, a 5-ton air conditioner? And so when you have high LRA, you can start those big loads. And that's what Nexis really offers us. With 3 battery blocks, 185 amps of LRA, the inverter is capable of 14.5 kilowatts of backup power. So we are delivering with the sun up. If you have less than 4 battery blocks, we have 14.5 kilowatts of backup power. And then if it's nighttime, there's no sunshine, you're reliant upon each battery block output. and each battery block is delivering 3.5 kilowatts continuous. So if you have a 4 battery block system, that's 13 kilowatts continuous, and if you want to get to that 14.5, then you just need a 5th battery block. It's that simple. So we're maximizing efficiency on every single battery block just because the battery blocks can discharge independently. And one of the things that really lends itself to is better optimization and performance long-term for the homeowner. So they're saving more money on their time of use. They're keeping the lights on longer when they go into backup. Like, it's protecting the homeowner's largest asset, which is their home, and making them the most revenue. So battery efficiency is very important, and because we can discharge each battery independently, we maintain high system efficiency. So thermal management, I talked earlier about the fans that cool this stack of batteries. More importantly, the entire enclosure is aluminum. Every single component with the on the outside of this thing, with the exception of the decorative cover, is basically aluminum heatsink. So now we can make sure that we're cooling the system much more efficiently, and it can be installed in those really hot environments. With the optimization of every battery, we can also put new batteries in the stack without any long-term detriment. So when we stack a old battery on top of a new battery, the system sees the new battery and measures the state of health and says, oh, this battery has a higher state of health. I'm going to exercise it a little bit more than the other 2 batteries that have a lower state of health. And that way the entire system operates much more efficiently and has longer functionality. Okay, so we talked about hot environments, 131 degrees Fahrenheit. What about cold environments? Like, we're on the East Coast. You said connector was in Pennsylvania, right? Yep. How cold does it get in Pennsylvania?
Really cold.
Really cold. So this battery system, Nexis, is capable of operating in -4 degrees Fahrenheit. What does that mean, really? Well, that means, yeah, we have some heating mats that cool, or that heat the cells, warm the cells, only when they need to. So if the cells are sitting in an idle state and asleep, and they're not discharging or charging, that means they're cool. We will use the heating mats to keep them warm so they are ready to discharge when you need them to. It's flood resistant up to 18 inches. So you've got that flash storm rolling through, you have your batteries floor mounted, you're still protected, you're still covered. So 18 inches. And then of course we have a wall bracket. So if you needed it to get it above a floodplain, you can wall mount this solution as well. So replaceable decorative covers, if that flash flood comes through and rips one of my decorative covers off, those are replaceable. But more importantly, and what I think is cool, is they're customizable. You could put your favorite sports team logo on there. You could paint it, whatever, to match the side of the house. I have my, my partner working on some vinyl stickers to make it look like a bush. And I'm like, we're totally going, you know, tree camo. Like that's woodland camo is what I want. And just to make it look really cool in my garage next to all my hunting equipment. All right. And then one last note, U.S. manufacturing. So Connector is a located in Pennsylvania, U.S.-based company. SolarEdge, we manufacture everything in the U.S. Our inverters come out of Austin, Texas. Our battery blocks are coming out of Salt Lake City. And our optimizers are coming out of Tampa, Florida. So we are full domestic content compliant. We're creating U.S. jobs, again, in those locations. And we use a lot of automation. So really high quality manufacturing in the U.S. And so I wanted to take one more moment and tell you about Simple Click technology. So we're going to have a little video showing you the stackability of the SolarEdge Nexis.
All right, so now it's time for the live install. We say this is 30 minutes or less, and so we're gonna put our money where our mouth is. You guys know Evan. He's around, he's in a lot of videos. You're also driving the little van around too, right?
Yeah, the training van, yeah.
Okay, so a training van might be coming in your area soon, so keep an eye out for it. A couple of things here I do wanna note. Evan stretched. I visibly saw you stretching.
I did.
Before this segment. You have your steel-toed boots on.
Yep.
You have your safety goggles.
Got my PPE.
Yeah, you said you just did a safety training.
I did,
right?
Yeah. I completed it, so safety manager will be happy.
Yeah, so he's very, very focused on that. But we are going to install today. So what are we going to get started with? What's the first? And let's start the clock if we can too, because we're actually going to be timing this.
Okay, yeah. So I'm excited because I have the easy job today. I get to install the SolarEdge Nexis system here. So what we're going to do is start with the batteries. We're going to install the floor-mounted feet that go on the bottom of the battery blocks. Stack it here, put it where we'd like. Then we're going to use this go, no-go bracket to make sure that we're far enough away from the wall. Then we're going to just go ahead and continue stacking the rest of the blocks up, zip on a bracket, put the inverter on, and then that's it. It's extremely simple.
Okay, so let's get started. If you want to go ahead and do it, I'm going to actually ask you some questions while we go.
Okay,
so go
great.
for it.
Yeah.
So a couple of quick things. These guys yesterday said the thing that takes the longest with the SolarEdge Nexis install is actually the unboxing. So we unboxed the whole thing already. We have all of these units in the back. So they're going to come around here with their units. So like Evan said, each of the blocks actually come with little feet. So it is by default going to be floor mounted, but you can purchase a wall mount. So this can be a wall mounted solution if you really want. So now this is a bit of a handicap on the timer here because, you know, Evan's going to have to talk to me while he's doing this, but we are now timing it. So Evan, you've done a lot of these installs.
Yeah.
You've also done a lot of installs with our previous SolarEdge products.
Right.
You've done competitors' products. What would you say your favorite thing is about installing Nexis?
My favorite thing about installing Nexis is I don't have to do any communication wiring, power wiring. It's all, when you click the battery stacks together, it's all done when you click it together. So that's really nice. Yeah, thanks, Chris.
And then when you guys came into frame, it looked like you had some handles. Are there handles on each of the...
So each of the handles will come with a battery link. And remember, we need one link for each battery stack. So you never have to buy extra handles. And they come with it, they hook in. And then when you're done, you can leave them in the battery stack. So if you guys are around, we'll show you how that...
So you can actually leave them in the battery stack.
Yeah.
Inside. Okay, so here
so
they
come.
Just
clip in like this, and then we can here, actually you need to come this way, and then we'll come throw this on here. There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. So at this point we can use this go no go guide, and there's two lines. So for installing an inverter, then we can have it a little further away from the wall. If we're not installing an inverter and just putting the batteries up on this wall, then we can have it really close. But today we're going to have an inverter, so...
So what are we installing today? 3 blocks, a link, and an inverter.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. So this is a common size, by the way, 15 kilowatt hours for the batteries, the link, and the inverter. You heard Cameron earlier, you have the ability to do up to 80 kilowatt hours. But what we're seeing very commonly is 3 stack, 4 stack, because that's a full stack. You can go up to 4 battery blocks. Okay, look we're already getting that first one in. If you want to just look at those feet, that's what I mentioned. They just simply screwed them in right before they put the block on.
Yeah, and we're actually pretty level here. You don't need to use a level. We have a bubble level, which is pretty great because you can just rock it from one side to another, make sure everything's tightened up once it's level, and then you can start stacking.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you say that. So you don't need a level. There's actually a bubble level already on here. I mentioned in the first segment that this was really built based on feedback from the field. This is from installers' challenges that they've seen. And so it was easy to actually incorporate an already integrated bubble level, just in case anybody needed it. So, Evan, once you level the first block down there, you don't have to level the other stuff, right? This is the basis of it.
Right, yeah, It should all be level after that. So,
Great.
yeah, and then, you know, we don't need a level. We also don't need a measuring tape because we have this go, no-go guide. It's
cool.
Really simple.
So I know that we can wall mount. Is there some use cases that you have seen where people would wall mount versus the floor mount solution?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes it's hard to mount this on the floor outside. Maybe you know, we don't have a concrete pad, or it just looks better to have it on the wall.
Okay, so like outdoor locations, maybe there's a gravel ground, there's a non-concrete pad surface.
Exactly.
We could install on the wall. Okay, great.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna zip this guy in, and then we're gonna stack the rest of the batteries.
Let's do it.
Let's see.
So one other thing to note here too, there's no decorative cover on the front. So you can install them without the covers. You smack the covers right on. These are literally magnetic covers if you haven't seen them yet. They are decorative magnetic covers. Okay, so these guys are gonna get going on this. We are gonna check in with them a lot. So here comes our other battery already. As mentioned, quick installation of this solution. So, yep, there's our,
done.
There they go. Okay, so we're gonna check in with them a little bit later. I wanna actually show you a really cool safety video to show the real safety advancements that we have done within this battery as well. It's also allowing us to install closer together, is allowing us to have fire compliance, the most strictest safety standards available. Gosh, look at, here's number 3 already. When we check in with them, they might already be done. So we'll see about that. But let's switch over to the safety video if we can. Okay, so I mentioned we're going to have an expert panel here. This was really important to us because we wanted to talk to individuals that have had experience in the field already. So I want to do an introduction of each of our expert panelists that we have here today. We're very fortunate to be able to have experts that span distribution, sales, and business development, as well as technical operations. So let's get started on this, this introduction. First, I want to talk about David Dunlap. So he is the VP of Product Strategy for BayWa, so you know them as our distributor partner. I did ask them a couple of stats. I wanted to give them a cool stats card. 10 years in solar. So we have some vets here on the panel as well. We've seen a lot. So level of expertise, product strategy, business development, technical products, and I asked these guys, what is your favorite acronym? Cameron actually mentioned earlier, he went through a bunch of different acronyms. And I asked David, what's your favorite acronym in solar? And he said, well, it's not really my favorite, but it's FEOC because everyone's talking about FEOC right now. And that is something that we hear all the time. So thanks again, David, for being a part of our panel. Next, I want to talk about Brad. So Brad Uri is the VP of Product Strategy and Implementation at Terra Energy. He also 10 years in solar. Again, a vet, has seen a lot of products come and go and has experienced a lot. Expertise, strategic partnerships, business development, and sales specifically. Favorite acronym is BESS, B-E-S-S. So we know that, again, 2025, 26, that's what we talk about all the time. All right, so number 3, we're going to talk about Tate Abdon. So if we can go to Tate, he is the Director of Installations at Sangha Energy, one of our installation partners. Again, around 10 years in solar, but in electrical since 1998, so a large expertise there. operations, project management, installation. When I asked him about his favorite acronym, he actually shuddered because, as we all do, there are so many acronyms. And begrudgingly, he did say PTO, permission to operate, has to be his favorite because that is really what gets that system running, and we can walk away saying that it was a success. So I'm going to turn it over to Cameron Stewart, our moderator today, to be able to get started on this expert panel. Cameron.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I am very excited to share a discussion with you fine gentlemen and all your experience in the industry. So first, I just want let's frame the discussion for everyone listening today. And the framing is 2026 has been a challenging year, full of industry changes, pivoting, adapting our business strategies. So my first question, and this is for everybody. My first question is, how has 2026 been going so far? Has there been any major changes that have lasting impacts on your prospective business segments?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in 2025, heading into 2026, right, we knew a lot of the changes that were coming, right? Everybody started talking about FEOC, increased domestic content percentages. And so, there was some time to prepare, right? There was also some time to kind of rush to get the old policy, right? So we had a big backlog kind of the end as people were cramming to get things in at the end of the year. And then this new reality sets in. And I think it's really opened a lot of possibilities and potential in the market. And it's really just identifying what these new winning strategies are.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think with some of these changes, we're starting to see, a shift towards standard storage and other things of that nature where each market is a little bit different, right? In Texas, the policy is going to vary from Florida to Virginia, but there are starting to be patterns emerging that can be followed to win.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Tay?
I'm super excited. I know everybody may not be super excited, but 2026 was something I wanted to see come. I've seen the industry from kind of start to finish where it was really easy, it was plug and play, and we're getting into the area where I love, which is actually having companies that you need good quality guys that are well trained and have the ability to be able to do repairs after the fact, with batteries being probably almost on every single job now. You just can't have a guy that come off the street and do that. I'm excited because I come from an electrical background. That's when I started out in commercial electrical. I want to see the guys that are really great succeed in this business and prolong. And I'm seeing a lot of the companies that were just the pop-up firework, bang, that was all they were, and then they were gone. Those guys are gone now. So what we're seeing now is companies that want to be there for the next 30 years. And our company really wants to be there. And it's getting into the honest side of this. Are we actually helping customers? I know we were talking about, questions that people are asking, but big on the idea that let's be here. Let's help people. Let's save some money and make a product that is going to be sustainable.
Yeah, I like that. David?
For me, Cameron, it really is about the integration of all the parts, all the solutions, right? It did used to be a little simpler, as Tate said. It was sort of, we all did collectively one thing. We created an on-site generation facility, but now it's an integration of the full suite of energy management and consumption management, load management. It's complex, so I think that's the downside, but I think the upside, and I share Tate's excitement, is we're really coming together as an industry and collaborative partners in a way that I think we hadn't in the past. So I think that's the big shift, is if we're not talking about how the work that we're doing impacts and affects the entire business, we're missing part of the conversation, right? So we want to do more than just talk about the equipment or one aspect of it. We really want to talk about the integrated solution. And that includes financing, right? That's a huge part of our world today that we kind of all glossed over for the last number of years and just let the homeowner get their tax credit. It's not that simple anymore.
Right.
Much more complicated.
I want to expand on that a little bit. So what are the three primary focuses for your company that is helping drive business development? So is financing one of those things?
Financing is huge. Not only having access to those financing partnerships, but be able to bring them to the table speaking with the installers, helping to really help the installer do the due diligence and understand the nuanced differences, right? There's a lot of different products out there because not everybody is doing the same thing, right? And that's what Brad was saying. Each market is going to have a different approach. There's a different value creation for each homeowner. If we're not taking the time to do that discovery and learn what matters and how we can create value, we're missing part of the conversation. So the pillars really are about bringing the finance mechanism to it, the quality install and equipment, and then just making sure that we're connecting the dots from a business standpoint so that we can all be healthy and sustainable.
Sure.
Those are the 3 pillars for me.
Yeah. So what about you, Tay? What are the 3 things that you are focusing on to stay successful this year so you don't end up like one of the quote unquote bad companies?
Yeah. I think the big thing that we've really tried to do at Senga is and in the industry I'm seeing is training. I feel that the problem we've had in the past is we've got away from that apprenticeship program. That's how I started in the business. I was a guy that got kicked around and yelled at, and I got to bring the drinks at the end of the day, and I dropped off coffee and all that kind of thing. We lost that. Now it was just, hey, you're a plug guy, you put panels on the roof, you do this. And we've really worked really hard to start at the beginning, and I'm pulling guys that were site survey guys. And now one of the site survey guys I have right now, he's our lead tech. You know, he's seen this stuff all the way from the beginning. He's also worked in the office. He's doing those kind of things. And I love that idea that we're here to help people really progress. And it's not just burn through your guys, get them out, fire them when we're done with them. It's how can those guys become better guys in the industry? And a lot of our guys that we've been working with over the last, I've been working in the industry 10 plus years now. And we're actually taking some of those guys that have started out with us, and now they're our subs, which is something that I think is really hard, is finding good subs. So that's been hard. And then the cool thing that we have with financing is, one, the ability to be able to do some of these jobs that would never be possible, $80,000, $90,000 jobs that would really help a company or, a customer that has a large home, but also the fact of what that keeps us honest. We're having to turn in pictures and show it's not just, hey, did it pass inspection, and whether it works or not is not a big deal. But those financiers are really helping the industry with the idea of making sure that it is actually being done properly. It is actually viable. And we're taking some of that information we've learned over the last 10 years to make better systems that work better, and helping our guys going, hey, look, guys, this is the thing we're seeing. Whether it's, hey, that we were having problems with water getting to the systems. Now we're not having that anymore because we had that information. Proper battery sizing, because we have so many years in the industry now that we're able to go back and say, okay, here's what's the proper size of battery, and how many really good trained guys do I need to run a company? And can I run a company that has 1,000 employees that I have no idea?
Yeah.
I'm big on making sure that all my guys, I'm like, call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, call me at midnight, say you're sick or whatever it is, or you're on the job, please call me. You're with an inspector, call me.
Sure.
And we're able to work in that kind of that circular thing, understanding that it's not just your company. We need everybody to succeed. And we want to we've worked really hard on the idea of, I call it, making a system for each individual customer, a custom system for a custom customer. And I think that's where you guys do really well with, the idea of a 5 kilowatt that we can stack and do all those kind of things. There's no cookie cutter jobs anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I've not run into a cookie cutter job that I can just go in there and go, yep, everybody gets a 7 kilowatt job. We're going to walk away, everybody in town. It's like every customer is so different, and what they need and how they show up and all that. And with the data we have now, it's just huge.
So if I can paraphrase just for a second, and then I'm going to get to you, Brad. So David, one of the biggest things was financing and making sure that we have more financing options, or the right financing options for homeowners. Tate, the kind of 3 things you were keying in on was cross-functional training for your whole staff and promoting from within, and then also doing what's right for the customer, right-sizing the battery system, right-sizing the PV system to make sure that it's more functional. And that ties into the financing options because of all the requirements that they have. Brad, what are the 3 things that you're really focusing on for the rest of the year to make sure that you're successful?
I think most of our major initiatives really boil down to one thing, and it's already been touched on multiple times, but it's improving the homeowner experience.
Yeah.
So we see the value prop changing across the markets, right? So the value prop in California is going to look vastly different from the value proposition in Texas versus Florida. We see net metering disappearing in more and more states, so we can't just use the grid as a battery anymore. And that changes fundamentally the value proposition to the customer and the customer experience. And so it comes down to training the sales reps properly so that they're selling appropriately in each market, so that the promises actually align with the expectation or what actually happens. We've got some technological advancements now, like with the Nexis and being able to provide full home backup and startup ACs, and our top markets like Texas and Florida, really important, right? We can actually fulfill on some of the misconceptions from the past. But like I said, it really comes down to that customer experience. How do we align the realities of the market with how they're going to experience solar? And then how can we customize a product between financing products, between installation, between product advancement? How can we align all those things so that the customer actually has a great experience at the end of the day and actually gets what they're expecting?
Sure, absolutely. That's so focusing on setting expectations for the homeowner, the customer. Now, you all three have relatively different customer audiences. David, you deal mostly with installers, right? That is your customer. What is something that they continue to ask for? Like, what are your customers asking for?
Right now, with the complexity that we touched on there, the change in the policies and the rules, and kind of trying to understand what is the best or the right direction for me to go, I think the number one thing that we get asked is just, do you have answers for me? Can you tell me what the right thing to do is, right? And I think it's important that we all understand there is no necessarily singular right and wrong, but we have to have a little bit more of a discussion. And so that's where, for me, that integration, that partnership, and taking the time to work together collaboratively is so vitally important right now. Sure. And that's where we see the difference. If we can get into a discussion about why are you asking the questions you're asking? Why do you think that's important to you? I can't tell you how many times I've had questions come through my sales team asking about, what manufacturers, what products do you have that are fiat compliant? But they don't give us any of the rest of the context about why does that matter to you, right? And it turns out it's a residential installer that's just using a standard TPO AVL. And my answer is, don't worry about that. Just choose the products off the AVL. That work has been done for you by the financier, right? But they're told by the media, by the industry, these are the buzzwords. That's why I said FIAC is my favorite and not favorite acronym right now, because one, what FIAC stands for, foreign entity of concern, right? So if it's FIAC, that means it's a foreign entity of concern. So what FIAC products do you have? What foreign entity of concern products do I have? Well, that's not actually the question you're asking me. What you want to know is what non-FIAC products I have, right? Or what FIAC compliant products do I have? So a lot of words here, but the point is, I think we're getting to where we're having better discussions, more meaningful discussions about, to Brad's point, what are we shooting for? What is the end goal? Do we understand where we're creating value? Do we understand why we need to know this stuff? Yeah. Right? That's what's critically important to me, and that's where I'm very excited about that part of the conversation. And it's downstream with installer customers like these gentlemen. It's also upstream with manufacturers, right? And then sideways, parallel with the financiers.
Right. And so I know a homeowner is probably not asking about FIAC. For Tate, for you, like, what are your customers asking for?
I think a big one is, does it work? I think that's the biggest thing I get lately is, okay, is it worth still doing this? Because things have changed. The government, subsidies, things like that have come in, that have helped over the years to kind of prop up in the beginning, which is why it's a game now where you're sitting here going, okay, how do I help the customer save money? That's as simple as it is. And that's where I always look at it. And that's where I'm like, yes, absolutely still there. Yeah. There's a way to save money. Energy is only going up. So how do I save money for the customer? That's probably the number one question I get is it any good anymore? Is it just a waste of time? Am I, had somebody put it on their house and they didn't save any money at all. And I was like, yes, that's all gone. Let's get to talking to actual customers. Let's talk to actual installers. I want you to ask questions. Sure. Versus back in the day where people were like, I don't want you to ask any questions at all. Just trust me. Yeah. Don't ask me any questions. And I sit down, we have sales meetings every Mondays where I have the guys come in and they ask questions and we're able to go through that. I'm like, yeah, call me. I had a call last night, while we were at dinner, and I was sitting there and I was answering phone calls with the salesman in-house. Okay, how many batteries can we put here? What is the advantage of this? Having that knowledge that we have now that we didn't have in the past, when there was kind of a wild, wild west scenario, that's not there anymore.
Right.
We have that knowledge, we have that background. I really think customers are excited to see that there is answers, like you said. Is there an answer to my question, and do you have somebody there to answer it? And that's probably our number one, is like, is it worth it? And it absolutely is.
Okay. Brad, so there's been a lot of industry challenges and changes in grid reliability, policy changes. Is any of that influencing your customer demand? Like, are your customers saying, oh, I don't want to go solar because my neighbor doesn't have it, or it doesn't pay for itself anymore? Like, is that influencing any demand for you?
I don't know if the policy changes necessarily, other than the ITC, some homeowners know that they heard something about it going away, right? So policy changes, I don't know. I do think in certain markets, or at least in certain pockets of certain markets, there's almost been a stigma of types built up, right? They had a neighbor that was promised the world. They saw the news story that the little grandma can't make her solar payment and her utility payment because a company went out of business. So I definitely think there's a fair bit of buyer resistance in pockets of the market that's kind of started to amplify. And I think that's part of why that customer and focusing on customer experience is so important.
Yeah.
Because in 2026, we're almost making a new solar industry, right? Especially in a lot of markets that batteries you now have to have, or it's a guaranteed bad experience, right? In a lot of markets. And so it's redefining those expectations. It's helping customers understand kind of the differences that exist now, and then explaining it properly, and then finding a finance product that matches that, finding the product that can actually deliver on what they need. And as an early adopter, I guess, of Nexis with us, we've part of what we've done in our offering to kind of help change the customer experience is going standard with storage.
Right.
So every single customer that we install, regardless of whether they're in a net metered market or a non-net metered market, we have storage as a standard, because that will only enhance the future of that customer, right? They don't have to worry about a policy change like happened in Nevada and Arizona and going through a 2-3 year fight with a bad experience, because they'll already have the storage installed.
Right. So I was going to ask you, but it sounds like you already answered the question, but I was going to ask you, so what is your kind of shift for your sales staff? And it sounds like maybe they're just starting out with batteries on every proposal.
Yeah, it really boils down to a focus on storage, right? And so every single proposal that we send out, every homeowner that we enroll into our program, storage is standard.
So how's that impacting maybe your margins or your profitability for every job? These batteries are expensive. So what is the impact there?
We're a little bit unique because we also offer our own financing product. So we have our own TPO, and we've been able to structure things such that the homeowner is still able to save money monthly while adding storage. So it's a pretty unique offering that we put a lot of work into to kind of cater to today's market. And so batteries, they have implications with us as far as like having to, find tax off takers and different things of that nature. But overall, it helps our business dynamics.
Yeah, sure. So it's interesting, and I'm curious to where you see the most potential for growth now that batteries are a part of every proposal. Like, is it market specific? Like, are you like, oh man, Texas is going to take off this year, or where are you seeing the most growth potential?
So we see continued really high potential in California and Texas, which we operate in today. There are other markets we're evaluating, right? We're not pros on every single market, but our core market to date has been Florida, which most of Florida oddly still has net metering.
Oh, nice.
But despite that fact, we've seen a huge surge in demand when we started offering storage standard. And so, because we're able to sell on more values, right? The sales reps are able to offer a product that can actually back up a home in Florida with Nexis, and then actually provide that backup power when they need it. And so we're able to expand our value proposition to the customer.
And hurricane season was relatively light this year in Florida, so
Really light last year. Fingers crossed for another one.
So Tate, I want to shift over to from a technical standpoint, with a system that's genuinely easier to install. How does that impact your business? Like,
100%. I mean, I wish everybody could embrace the idea that the job got way harder over the last 3 years, especially in California with the NEM system that we have now, where we are installing batteries in every job. We went from having a company where you had a couple battery guys to all battery guys.
Sure.
And so having a product that's easy to install, that is going to take some of that extra effort out, not having to bend as much pipe, not having to do the comms wiring that's in there, is huge. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, it just is. That's my kind of mantra of everything. It's like, how do I make an install that happens perfect, not 100% of the time, not 5% of the time.
Right.
I don't want to go back to jobs. I don't want to see problems. I don't want to see where I'm having to do truck rolls back out there, where I'm able to, with simplifying anything, it's just going to save me time. It's going to save the customer money. It's going to get every single time I have a harder situation, you're going to see an issue where it's like, okay, yeah, is it easier? That's great. But is there less chance for mistakes?
Sure.
Why not?
Right.
Why make it so there's there's some companies out there that have gone out of business over the last couple of years, which were making products where I swear there was 1,000 possibilities for mistakes.
Yeah.
It's like, if you take this wire and put it here, they both have the same connection, but if you put the gray one here and the yellow one here, that's going to take out the system. I'm like,
right.
Why?
So I want to draw that out a little bit. So like,
Yeah.
Getting it done right the first time is hugely important.
Yeah.
So like, what big factors, like rolling a truck to fix that wiring, like what does that do to your business?
Kills us.
Yeah.
Because I run under the philosophy of the 1-to-10 ratio, basically meaning that if you do a good job, they will tell one person. If you do a bad job, they'll tell 10 people.
Yeah.
And I always kind of run on that idea that a lot of our salesmen run on just referrals from their own customers. I mean,
Yeah.
I have salesmen that don't knock doors. We also have a lot of salesmen that do, and it's much better to knock on a door when they don't hate you.
Yeah.
So anytime that we can help that scenario go through where it works the first time and the inspection goes through easier and there's not a lot of issues, because it is very simple to sit there and screw up a wire.
Yeah.
And to have it be able to be where there's less wiring, less pipe bending, less chances to do that, is less truck rolls.
Sure.
That's happier customers, that's happier financiers, is happier everybody. And my guys feel better because they're able to nail the job and get out of there quicker. They love that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be on a roof when it's 100 and a billion degrees outside and they're
Sure.
trying to do that. That their attitude is hard in the summertime. It's a hard job in the summertime. And to have it be quick and easy and lighter is just huge.
Huge. So one more thing.
Sure.
Because you have unique experience of being one of the few companies that was part of the Alpha Beta program and installing Nexis. So you've installed a Nexis.
Yes.
What is one thing that really stood out to you about Nexis?
Lack of screws.
Lack of screws.
Okay. And I don't know. And I've said that probably to everybody here 58 times. It is, I have a son and he loved Legos as a child. It is like doing Legos. There's no screws. There's no bolts. There's no nothing. I don't even have to bolt on the cover. I hate some of the dang screws that just strip out while you're trying to put on a cover and then going back to the job where they've used 80,000 foot-pounds to put in a screw that needed a quarter of a foot-pound and stripped it all out. Now I have to work 3 hours to get off.
Yeah.
Being able to take off the cover with flopping it off, flopping it back on is huge. But I'll tell you, being able to stack the batteries and having them wire as we go, I've got big hands and they are full of arthritis. I do not do well with tiny little screws. And I've been doing this long, almost 30 years now. And the issue of having tiny little things that everybody wants us to do. And they have to be perfect. And oh, by the way, I'm wearing glasses now. I never did before. So being able to sit there and go, okay, now I have to see where it says, this is going to do here and this is going to do here. Oh, they're all the exact same color wiring and they all go in the same port and they all are the same matching. I'm glad you guys got rid of that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is I click it on, it sticks. I don't have to bolt it. I don't have to do nothing. When I put one bracket on the wall, I'm taking care of all those. I'm not having to look for that for the 2x4s in the wall, the frame of the wall on 6 different places. I'm looking for it for one place. I stack the whole battery in one spot. That's huge,
That's
because
awesome.
sometimes that's really hard. You got stuck on the outside of the house and I'm drilling 1,000 holes trying to find this. Now I have to go back and patch all those holes.
Hopefully you're not drilling 1,000 holes. But
no, but I mean, that's what sometimes it is, where
Yeah.
you're looking for those. We can't just put up a stud finder, and find those Raptors. So only having to find one set, maybe going on the other side of the wall, finding that real quick is an advantage there. And just like I said, lack of screws. I can't say that enough. I hate finding little, like I said, with arthritis, I'm dropping a lot more screws nowadays.
Sure.
And then we spend 45 minutes looking through the weeds to try to find that one screw, and they're just not there anymore. It's easy. Even when we have to remove a battery, when I did my very first install with the Nexis system, we did have to pull off a battery because I put the bracket in the wrong spot because I don't read directions very well. So I popped it out, but the screw stayed. I love captured screws. So I'm not sitting there and having that fall out, and I have to have all these pieces that I'm looking for. Some of the systems, I'm like, just give me a bag of extra screws because I'm going to lose 25 of these while I'm here.
Sure, yeah.
And the idea of a simple one-tool install, I've always liked that with you guys. You guys have been really good about. I know this is my screw, my screw tip I'm going to use for SolarEdge.
Sure, T25. That's it. That's all you need. Let me get over to David real fast. No, you're good. Thank you. All great feedback. What I heard most is lack of screws, simple tool or simple click technology, and then single tool. David, from the distribution side, what are the attributes that your customers are prioritizing when they select products? Like, what are they looking for?
So we talked about that sort of coming together, the integration of the financing solution, the product capability, and then that experience and that value creation of the homeowner. I think they are looking for both simplicity and repeatability at scale.
Yeah.
That also includes flexibility, because to Tate's point, no job is going to be identical to the next one, right? So you have to have a degree of flexibility. I think as an industry, we became very used to SKU proliferation, right? And different watt classes for everything, right? And we still have that with our modules. Like every 6 months, they're going to go up 5 watts, and you got to incorporate a new one. And at some point, that's another panel or, a different balance of system. So for me, there's a game changer here that SolarEdge had with the previous single SKU generation, but now continuing with the Nexis, that I don't think is really appreciated by the industry yet. And of course, SKU simplicity for distribution is obvious, right? We're moving lots and lots of boxes around. We're buying and selling a lot of product. It's obvious, right? The fewer variants of things that we have, the better. But when you sort of take that theory all the way through the supply chain and the application for these guys and putting products on the trucks going to job sites, you don't have to have so many things lined up and planned out in advance. You know you're taking an inverter to the job. It's always that inverter, always that same SKU. In this case, it's always a domestic content product. It was always a made in USA product. There's no differences job to job, even though the configuration of how many battery blocks, is this going to be an AC coupled or a DC coupled solution on this job? Those are the changes, but some of the basics of the equipment and the transactional part of just dealing with the equipment is so immensely simplified. Right. One other thing, we haven't even seen it yet, but when we talk about service and O&M and reclaiming orphan systems or out of warranty systems, a single SKU inverter is the godsend, right? You don't have to match what was there before. You bring out, your service guys could have 15 inverters on the truck, and every one of them will work for the jobs that they're going to.
Yeah.
This is game changing, right? And I don't think we're really quite to the place of really appreciating that yet.
And I think with the low cost of just Nexis and our single SKU inverters today, you can see that that replaceability is super easy to do. So if you ran out of your cell card warranty or whatever, you can easily swap at a low cost that inverter with a single SKU and get all those things back. But I did want to dive a little bit more into domestic content. We were talking about FIOC earlier, foreign entities of concern, domestic content, made in America. What impact does domestic content products have on supply chain management and logistics for distribution?
It's a great question, and it's a little bit of a nuanced answer, Cameron, for me anyway. For BayWa, early days when we knew this was coming and we knew it was part of the new tax requirements, we saw it as a pain, right? We were going to have to manage multiple variants. What's the designation? Is it a -US or a -DOM or a, right? What is the designation? How are we going to keep these things separate? And of course, the physical product oftentimes was functionally identical.
Yes.
But it's just the provenance of it, right? Where was it manufactured and how does it comply? But I think we're getting to a point now where if we understand we've actually simplified the supply chain, the predictability from manufacturing to deployment, right? Coming through distribution and getting to installers and onto the jobs, that lead time from manufacturing to deployment is dramatically reduced, right? And the complexities of overseas shipping, you know, there could be wars going on that are constricting supply chain channels. There could be tariffs and all kinds of things that complicate it. For manufacturing here in the U.S., we're shipping the products locally within the U.S. We're basically a week out from finish of production to products moving through the supply chain. Way more predictable, way more functional, and let's be honest, it doesn't necessarily have to be because it's leveraging a tax credit opportunity. It can just be that, you know, we're supporting American jobs. We're supporting the manufacturing here in this country. We're taking control of that destiny.
Right, it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
You're not worried about like union strikes on the on the port of call, like trying to get stuff in. And I think you're right, like just streamlining from manufacturing to distribution to installers to deployment. Like I think that whole process is now shrunk from 12 weeks to 2.
Yeah,
right?
my conversations often were, you know, 8 weeks, 5 weeks on the water, 3 weeks for customs, but that's a guess.
Yeah.
Right. When is this actually going to show up? Well, we know it's going into production on this date, but we don't actually know when we're going to have it on site. Right. Just take those conversations off the board. We're not spending our time worrying about that anymore.
Now, BayWa was one of our first partners to start stocking Nexis. So what makes this product easier to position and sell through channel partners? Is it anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think it's everything that has been discussed. I mean, the simplicity, the versatility, the ease of use, the reduction of SKU count and application of each individual SKU. Those are huge leaps forward. It's also that flexibility on the install side, right? Now you've got a dedicated storage solution that is both AC or DC coupled, depending on the application, not because of the way the system was designed, right? So now can take the same solution to any kind of different project and install it, right? Battery retrofit to an existing solar customer that you put in a solar system 8 years ago and now you're adding storage, or an upgrade, an O&M, a service replacement, or a brand new job. Or Brad and I were talking about battery-only systems. Yeah. Like that seems weird for solar installers to be thinking about battery-only systems. Where's the solar? But it makes sense, and the utilities are leveraging this, right? There's ways that there's a financial outcome that makes sense here. Right. And I think it goes even beyond just storage. PV and storage is the starting, that's the hub, but you've got energy management, you've got load controls, and then you're getting all of the rest of the electrification of that home, right? That full integration opportunity.
And then one last thing, a couple last things. Brad, we were talking earlier, your sales team was the first to really start selling Nexis as part of our alpha beta customers, or I'm going to say early release. What's the winning strategy for your sales team as it relates to Nexis and having that on your quotes?
I mean, now they don't have a choice, but they were excited about the change, and a lot of that is because of some of the, I guess, advancements with Nexis. So just the scalability. So on a lot of the sites, we're doing 40 kilowatt hours of storage, and so they get pretty excited explaining to customers what that actually means for them, right, in a backup situation. We have certain VPPs that they get to sell into now, right, being able to talk to homeowners about collecting VPP credits and things that previously they they weren't even touching on with customers because we weren't selling into VPPs,
Sure.
right? You know, the power output, being able to back up an air conditioner with the 185 LRA, and just overall how much better their experience will be because they have storage. So, you know, in Florida with the net metering, it's mostly a resiliency play, but in Florida, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, attachment rates have been actually relatively low in Florida through the years, despite the generator market being really hot in Florida.
Huh.
And so now because of the capabilities of Nexis, being able to expand storage easily, being able to have a lot of power output, we're able to sell the value of the storage in replacement of a generator. So for a little while last year, we were talking about how do we integrate generators into our offering, and now we don't need to integrate generators into our offering. We have the Nexis, it's powerful enough, and the solar regenerates and fills that battery.
Yeah.
So, you know, why would we, type of a deal. So it's been able to fundamentally change the conversation for the sales reps, and so they've had a lot of success with that.
Okay. So I want to close out our discussion today with looking forward. You know, we've talked a lot about paradigm shifts and how we're changing our business models to address the market as it changes with us. So what advice, let's start with Brad, what advice would you give to installers looking to stay competitive in today's changing market?
You know, I really believe we are building a new solar market in 2026 between policy change, between product advancements, and then with the surging demand of electricity nationwide with AI. There's just, we don't generate enough energy in this country. We can't even bring on energy deployment fast enough. And solar's a key part of that solution. And so identifying how we can solve the generation, and then with storage, right, it fixes the demand issues that sometimes solar can bring with high saturation. So, you know, we've got to be out there active in policy. We have to be active in these conversations. You know, the state solar organizations get involved. There's going to be winning strategies out there. There's going to be losing strategies out there because it really is kind of a new market.
Yeah. How about for you, Dave?
I think the most important thing installers can do to remain competitive is to know their business and make the decisions that they actually own. And I think that's the shift that I'm seeing. In the beginning of this year, I think a lot of installers had this feeling of, I'm being forced to change my business in a way that I didn't choose. And the sooner we can get back into a mindset of, I'm running the business that I designed, that I make decisions about, and I'm following that path, right? And whether that's the quality, integrity, the homeowner value, I'm taking time to do the proper discovery, that's what's going to make you competitive, because you're truly creating that value for your customer. And take the time to listen to your customer. But I think that empowerment that comes with choosing your destiny instead of feeling like you're a victim, I think that's really important right now. And we're not all seeing that in the immediate moment, right? If we listen to the buzzwords, I'm supposed to buy this kind of equipment, I'm supposed to use this kind of financing, well, why? What is that going to do for you? And if it doesn't sound like the right answer, it probably isn't. So ask some more questions, partner up, collaborate, talk it out, and I guarantee you the right path is there.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it just may be a little bit hidden from or it may be a shift of what you used to be doing. It could be going back to your roots. I mean, storage first is really back where we started, right? Yeah. Original off-grid. You designed your size of your battery system before you did the PV system.
Right.
We lost sight of that along the way. We forgot about it, right?
Yeah.
We can get back to that now.
Tate, any advice for customers or for businesses to stay competitive?
I think the biggest thing is stay honest. I think that's one thing that I think we've seen is we've fought the good fight now. We're in the industry where the guys that are left are the honest guys that are doing the right thing. Stay that way.
Yeah.
Train your guys. Make a system that's going to be here for a while. I'm not going anywhere, so I want to make sure that I'm having that, and I think everybody else needs to embrace that too. It is no longer a how fast can we get it installed, how quick can we get our money. It's, I think the big thing like we're talking about here, it's single skew inverters, things like that. I want to be working on these systems in 20 years. So I want something that, pick something that's going to be here in 20 years. That's the thing. I get a company come every week telling me about, hey, how great our product is, and all this kind of like, where's it being made?
Right.
You know, does it have domestic content? Is it on AVLs? Why is it not on AVLs if you're so awesome and you're doing a cheaper product and everything else? Why is it not on AVL?
Sure.
You know, and that meaning, why are the financiers not willing to invest in you? Because I look at that as like, you're a bank.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm coming to get money from you from the bank, I've got to give you some reason why you should invest in me. And I see that in the companies that these investment organizations, who are they investing in?
Yeah.
Is it the guy that's being made in China that will change their name next year when they get sued? No, absolutely not. It's the guys that have 1,000 workers working in Texas. You know, when that was the coolest thing I ever saw when I went to your guys' factory in Texas, was, are we actually backing the companies that are coming here to America, making a better product that I don't have to wait 6 months for to come across the boat, or I have to tell them, yes, this month I'm going to do 75 systems. I need you to get me 75 when I actually need to do 80 because actually things went better this month. And now I've got to wait for those things to happen. I want things made here in America. I want customers that are happy, and the industry will explode if we're honest and do things right and train your dang employees.
Yeah.
You know, watch the videos that are being done here. Get those kind of things. And I love you guys doing that and pushing that idea of it. We have to have honesty and training. It's not just, and then sizing systems so those customers do see a benefit down the road, and being able to add a battery, because sometimes we get it wrong. You know, I have a real thing that I tell customers all the time is like, hey, anybody that tells you you're going to get it right 100% of the time is a liar.
Yeah.
But I will always make it right. And that's my promise to all my customers.
Okay.
I want to make it right every single time. And that may be, hey, I put 3 batteries on your system and you went out there and did something afterwards, and now I can't add a battery to your system because now they're 2 old batteries with a new battery. Yeah. Where with your system, I can just throw a battery on, be like, hey, look, let's add some batteries to it. Let's add an extra inverter if we need to because you decided to buy an electric car, whatever that is that we can do. Having that after the fact scenario, and a big thing that we're pushing ours is the orphan type systems. There's so many orphan systems out there. How can we help those customers, whether that's AC coupling, or whether that's, you know, how many customers were in NEM3 in California where there's no real benefit in NEM anymore. How can we go back and help those customers? Well, we need something that's going to be able to do that. Right. And invest in those companies that are investing in America and are investing in their employees, and then invest in your own employees.
All right. I just want to say thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me here today. I think this was an awesome conversation. I'm glad I got to share it with you, but I have to pass it over to Michelle. And then I think we also have to do a check-in on the installation to see how that's going. So again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Back to you, Michelle.
Yeah, so before we do a quick check-in with Evan, I mean, he's standing there drinking coffee. He's been done for a while, it looks like. Cameron's going to go check in with him, but I wanted to really talk about the next video that we want to show. Just a quick video. You know, one of the things that is important for SolarEdge as well is setting up our distribution partners with display walls. And just wanted to shout out Green Tech San Diego, Baxter, Jake, for allowing us to put our first display wall into Green Tech San Diego, and wanted to show a time-lapse video of what that looked like going from old to new. So check it out.
Man, that was incredible. I'm over here at the training wall with Evan and Ryan. We're both over here. And I just like turned around and this thing was installed. So Evan, like, how long did it take?
I'm exhausted. It took so long.
Oh no.
We stopped the clock here at 25 minutes and 18 seconds. So we installed the Nexis system here, and yeah.
So less than 30 minutes. And what did you do? You did 15 kilowatt hours of energy storage.
Yeah.
All your DC wiring was done through simple click technology.
Right.
All your communications wiring is done. You have your link and then your inverter. What did you put inside the inverter?
Yeah, inside the inverter, I wired my AC and DC wires. Actually, the stripping that took the longest part because my strippers are kind of dull. But and then we landed the Nexis Islander.
We got the Islander installed too. Fantastic. Ryan, what do you think? We did the right hand out. How come we didn't go left hand?
Well, we went right because it was the easiest path going this direction. Now, obviously, if there had been another door over here, it would have given another reason to exit off the right side.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that we really didn't talk about is the Nexis inverter allows conductors to pass through the left and the right. So AC terminals are over here on the right-hand side. If our service entrance is on the left, would you have passed the conductors all the way through and ran conduit out the left if we were running conduit?
Absolutely. I think it would have been a cleaner install if we did that. Because of that wiring tunnel, we're able to do that, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So a lot of you submitted questions when you registered for today's event, and I got some of those questions right here, and I thought they were fantastic questions. So I really wanted to take advantage of it and read some of those right now. So one of the biggest questions I got was, what is the chemistry of Nexis? And so the chemistry is lithium iron phosphate, or LiFePO, as some of you might call it. Now, I often get statements, oh, that makes your battery safer, inherently safer is the chemistry. And I always say, no, it's not the chemistry that makes battery safe. It is the construction. And so we have ThermoShield, which is insulative barriers between every single cell, and that's what makes batteries safe. Actually, I want to know more about the Islander and what it does to help form the microgrid in a system. Do you want to answer that? Or I mean, I can if you want me to.
Go for it, I can add too.
All right, so the Islander is a microgrid interconnection device, or MID. So we love our acronyms. MID, and all it does, again, is electrically isolate from the grid when the grid goes down. So there's a little switch inside here, and there's CTs, or current transformers, that are measuring consumption of the home. And when the grid goes down, a little switch opens up and says, I'm disconnected from the grid. And the inverter receives that signal and then forms a grid and becomes grid forming. So that's ostensibly what happens.
Yeah, commonly referred to as the automatic transfer switch. It happens in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, it opens up in a fraction of a second, right? And then SolarEdge is break before make. So we take about 2 seconds to transition and start production again. But that's a nice, clear indication to the homeowner that, hey, you're producing, or your system, your grid went down, now you're producing energy, so be mindful of how much energy you're using. Yep. Someone asked, what scenarios would you need external CTs for the setup? Because the Islander has CTs installed inside of it and is always measuring consumption. So when do you need external CTs? And the short answer is anytime you're doing AC coupling, we need to measure the production of that third-party inverter. Right. Or if you're doing partial home backup, maybe you're not like this install where you're full home backup. Maybe you use the Islander in a different application, and you're doing partial home backup. Or lastly, if you're doing rate saver. So we talked about just a battery only system without backup, without the Islander, then yeah, CTs for that scenario as well. So I think primarily we're gonna see a lot of DC coupling and AC coupling, and we're gonna do primarily whole home backup. But when you are AC coupling, you're always going to need an extra set of CTs.
Yeah, and I do want to add, though, when you are installing the Islander, you don't have to put the CTs on and worry about which way they're facing. It takes that whole headache away.
Gosh, man, those center-fed panels, right? Like, always really difficult to get CTs on. So even if maybe you weren't planning on backup and you see that center-fed panel at the system audit or whatever, that's a great time to install an Islander and just say, yeah, we're going to call this a day. Okay, how can I add Nexis to an existing SolarEdge installs? Do you want to take this one or do you want me to take this one?
Go for it.
All right, so if you have an existing A-series inverter, home hub, home wave, we're going to AC couple to that. And if it's a PV-only application, fantastic. It's much easier to do, just AC coupling. When you talk about like third-party inverters, like it could be any third-party inverter. Again, we're going to AC couple to those. So kind of the same scenario. Then we talk about dynamic control, and that's when you're running a COM wire from the Nexis to those inverters, those SolarEdge inverters. And that's going to be future roadmap items or down the road. But for right now, we're AC coupling to existing systems. So yeah, if you got anything out there, we can AC couple to it.
Cameron, if you don't mind me adding, one question that's often asked is what resources are available when it comes to connector in our device. You're welcome to, any installers, go to our website. You'll find the areas where this device is approved behind the meter. You'll also be able to email support@connector.com. Our website is connectder.com, and you can go on there and find all sorts of resources like the tech specs or the installation manual. My engineers and product team would be remiss if I didn't say always go and read the installation manual. It's a wonderful 64-page read, right? But usually you can hit the highlights and find out what you need to find out with regard to Islander.
Man, we tried to make a quick install guide, and like a quick install guide was still 10 pages. And we're like, no, it's supposed to be faster than this, like 1 page, but we tried our best. Yeah, and of course, SolarEdge.com, and you can go to SolarEdge Nexis info to find relevant information for the Nexus. And I think that's about it. Any last comments about how to install Nexis, how fast it is?
Yeah, the hardest thing is usually the communication and piping conduit between your batteries, inverters, and your MID, but in this case, we didn't have to do any of that, so it was very quick.
Very quick, 25 minutes. That's impressive, Evan. Thank you so much. So I think we have a prize to give away, and we're going to send it back over to Michelle, and she's going to do another little bit.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you over there. I can't, 25 minutes. We did it. So first, I do want to show one more clip, because one of the things that was near and dear to my heart about Nexis and the launch and bringing it to market was being able to be a part of a wonderful project with the Fia family in Utah. So that was actually a part of what we are going to be on Designing Spaces on the Lifetime Network. We have our own episode airing July 23rd. We will continue reminding you, but make sure you mark your calendar. We will be on Designing Spaces on the Lifetime Network on July 23rd, really showing and showcasing this project, which included not only a donation of a Nexis solution and a solar system, but a mural commemorating their son. And so I want to show that quick video real quick so you can get a sneak peek.
My name's Cameron, and I'm here at Salt Lake City with ES Solar, and they're doing an installation on this beautiful wall right here with this piece of art. They're decided to use the rear conduit entrance of the inverter, so no conduit obscures this masterpiece. What's really exciting is they're going to go up the wall through the attic over to the main service panel and provide 80 amps of backup power to this installation, 14.5 kilowatts and 15 kilowatt hours of energy storage. This is going to be DC coupled to the SolarEdge Nexis solution. The installers are using the Site Mapper app to map the location of all the modules on the roof. We've got ES Solar right here installing the SolarEdge Nexis Islander, providing whole home backup to the homeowner.
All right, so Cameron mentioned we have a winner to show, and we are going to pop some champagne because it's a celebration, but let's do this winner first. So let's do our wheel. We have an actual randomizer here. Let's see who our winner of a Nexis stack is. Let's do it.
So only people that registered could win?
Oh yeah, that was the deal. Let's see.
Oh man, that font is so small.
Well, we did it on purpose. Sean!
Yeah, Sean! Woo! I'm gonna...
Yeah! Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please go to SolarEdge.com and go to the Nexis page. Check it out. We have an installer info center where we have everything available. Definitely check in and watch our airing of Designing Spaces on July 23rd. But we will be back with trainings and other solutions for you. Good luck with Nexis. We want to see it in the field. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Woo!
Woo! Come in, everybody. Come in. Get some champagne.
It's only 11 o'clock. It's fine. It's fine.
Should have made mimosas.
You have orange juice?
I
We're
wish.
doing Bellinis?
I'm okay.
Well, cheers.
All right.
Can I say cheers, Nexis? Woo!
Cheers.
All right.
Hell yeah.